Hi everyone, today I wanted to ask a question. Is the universe too complex to exist without God? Believers will often point out to me that the universe as a whole, life in general, and human life in particular, is far too complex to come into existence naturally. I'm not sure how they know this because it's not as though they could do any comparisons, experiments, or tests to find out what can come into existence naturally and what can't. If a tree grows from a seed, has the tree come into existence naturally or is it put there by design? There may be a God who has designed the wings of a butterfly, but there is no butterfly that comes into existence as is. So is this natural or is this by design? It struck me one day that this argument has one very big flaw in it, and it led me to tweet this tweet that you can see on the screen now. Theist, humans are too complex to exist without God. Atheist, is God more complex than people? Theist, yes. Atheist, in your own time. That God created the universe and isn't subject to the laws that we observe within the universe also comes under what is known as a special pleading fallacy, and I've got a link below the video here where you can go and read about what that fallacy is. If God, which is far more complex than the universe, can exist without having been deliberately created, then why can't that apply to the universe itself? By their own reasoning, a theist acknowledges that super complex things don't have to have been deliberately designed or created to exist, and they apply this to their God. So if the universe is far less complex than a God, then surely it can exist without a God being required to make that happen. To put it in mathematical terms, and I'm no mathematician, so this might be pure nonsense, if maximum complexity equals x, and God's complexity is maximum, then God's complexity equals x. The complexity of the universe is less than the complexity of God by an unknown factor, so I'll call that factor f. That means that the complexity of the universe is x minus f. If a complexity of x requires no creator, then a complexity of x minus f must also require no creator. The same can apply to life and humans. And in either case, they have a complexity of x minus n, where n is the varying amount that denoting the level of complexity difference between the universe or humans or whatever it is, and gods. Again, if the complexity of x can exist without a creator, then the complexity of x minus n can also exist without a creator. I don't understand how a theist can say that their God is more complex than a human but can exist without a creator, but at the same time say that humans are far too complex to have come into existence without a creator. That doesn't make sense to me. So to put it simply, if you can explain a God without a creator, you can explain a universe without a creator. I'm Mr. Oz Atheist. Thanks for listening. You can subscribe by clicking the button below.